CJ the Smart Guy with you, and thanks for tuning in. This is a special episode. Normally I have interviews, people coming in to talk to you guys, as well as sometimes I create classes when I'm at the studio. But today I want to basically give a shout out to all my people with clothing lines. I feel like clothing line is one of the easiest ways to generate income as well as create a brand simultaneously. And if you're somebody who wants to support your friend or your family member or somebody that inspires you, buying their clothing line, buying some clothes from is one of the easiest things you can do. If it's got their brand on it, not only are you buying the product and putting money into their pocket, but you're also promoting them, because if they've got the logo on it, that means somebody else can see it. If they like it, they'll go ahead and buy it. And so I think starting a logo, starting a brand, starting a clothing line business is one of the easiest things that you could do. And if you're trying to support somebody, it's one of the quickest ways to support them, because sometimes you may not actually want to buy their goods and services, but a clothing line, you can definitely rock with that. So in this episode, I'll be basically showing you all my different clothing lines for people that I bought from. So first is my fitness people. We got Why Not Be Fit. This coming from Courtney. She's part of the Black Bitcoin Billionaires. She just actually came back from Tonga, where she, as well as T-Mac, they were out there trying to make a well for people, to drink clean water. The one thing that they were saying to us is that here in America, we take for granted that we got clean water, and even our water that we consider not clean, over there, they were fighting for water that was unclean, because to them it was clean. And so I just want to give a huge shout out to Courtney for that. Her and T-Mac, they went over there. So I wanted to make sure I supported her. She's also a trainer and super fit. So why be fit? I had to go make sure I supported her. I got the Row Effect out here in Houston, Texas. My boy Row, for free, basically every Tuesday and Thursday, he gives like fitness sessions where you come in and, he gives you a workout plan that's outside. So, it's COVID safe. And, you might have to run up hills, you might have to do jumping jacks, push-ups or whatnot, but he sets up the entire workout for you. And so he had a clothing line, just Row Effect, consistency, breeds results. And so I actually sponsored that. So I got my CJ the Smart Guy on the back, because I want to make sure that him doing that for free, he can at least create the brand and get visual with it. So big shout outs to Row for that. My homeboy Bahir Green, and his brother Tahir Green, they started a brand called Cheap Counsel. And so Bahir and Tahir, they've been making sure I stayed in shape. As an accountant, a lot of accountants, we just, do numbers all day. We focused on, number crunching and things of that nature. And so he was like, nah, bro, you got to get in the gym. So I'm grateful for that. He created his own clothing line, Cheap Counsel. Cheap Counsel meaning it look good, but the price isn't too high. So, if you're looking for a good price point, make sure you check out Cheap Counsel. It's very quality for sure. So yeah, shout outs to Bahir Green and Tahir Green for that. This is my homegirl, Brittany McCowan's line, East West High. What this shirt says is dare to express yourself and always stand in truth for the inner peace and joy, signed self-authentication. And so one thing about Brittany that I appreciate is not only did she graduate from TSU, that's my alma mater, but she also went to an Ivy League school, Columbia, graduated from there. And through that, she went through a situation where her sister was essentially killed in a car accident. And so the one that killed her was actually supposed to be somebody supposed to protect us. I forget the exact position that he held, but it was a high esteemed officer. And he was driving on the wrong side of the freeway, not the street, the wrong side of the freeway. He was so drunk. And so he killed her. And so, I think that when when you look inside yourself and you're authentic with yourself, you find out who you really are. And I think tough moments like that help to bring that out. So I want to support her. So shout outs to Brittany McCowan for that. My homegirl, Ember Skies. She's got a clothing line, Skies and Stars. She's also an entrepreneur. She's the one who does my hair. So I always make sure I shout her out whenever I can, because I've been growing my hair for about 5.5 years now. And she's been the main person to do it almost every week. There's been a couple of times I had to go somewhere else because I was traveling the country or whatnot. But about 95% of the time, she's the one who does my hair. And she also has these events where she showcases entrepreneurs, and she's based in Houston, Texas also. So I wanted to make sure I gave her a shout out as well. On the back of it, it says, "We are dreamers, we are dream chasers, we are dream catchers, skiesandstars.org." So make sure you guys go ahead and check that out. And then I got my homegirl, Dominique Hill's clothing line. I love her clothing line. Low key, I'm probably gonna try to hire her to start doing some of my stuff as well. But her brand is called Royalty Apparel. And so this shirt, this hoodie, the successful one, is one of my favorite hoodies I got. I'm basically the definition of successful, which I feel like I am. I hope that you are as well. If you don't feel like you're the definition of successful, then it might be time to put in some additional work. But yeah, so her clothing line is based in Detroit. I want to support her. We used to work at BNSF together. She was one of the first people to really support me and, the things that I'm doing. She's got hoodies. She's also got sweatpants. She's got all different types of clothes. So check that out. Royalty Apparel for sure. Good looking out. And then I got my homeboy D-Active. So D-Active Darius Harris. He's an undefeated boxer based in Rialto, California. I got all types of his stuff. I always got to represent California and where I'm from, and my homeboy's brand. So he's got NSG, Never Stop Grinding. He's got hoodies, sweatpants. All types of stuff. I try to support as much as I possibly can. So if you in LA, if you in Rialto, even if you're not, he ships everywhere. Never Stop Grinding. He's got shorts. He's got sweat cream. Look, I got so much stuff from Darius. It's ridiculous. And some of the stuff ain't got no sleeves, but it's still got the NSG, so you can work out with it and still get that warm feeling. So wanted to make sure I gave him a big shout out. He's got all different colors. It's too many of his stuff. So, but I wanted to make sure I gave NSG a big shout out. Never Stop Grinding. Darius, me and him went to high school together. I think we went to elementary school together as well. And he's making big moves in Rialto. I consider him the king of Rialto. So I always want to make sure I show him some love, even though I'm based in Houston. Never get where you come from. That's important to me. And then we got the Black Bitcoin Billionaires. So the Black Bitcoin Billionaires was created by Lamar Wilson and Isaiah Jackson. And what got me into it really was a book called Bitcoin in Black America. So not only you see I got the hoodie, but I also got the book down up there, as well as I got, Isaiah's hat, no keys, no cheese, meaning when you buy your cryptocurrency, you buy your Bitcoin, if you don't own the private keys to it, then you don't actually own your Bitcoin. So if you're buying on a PayPal or, a Robinhood or a Webull or anything like that, you don't actually own your keys. You don't actually own your money. You just are getting access to the value, but you don't actually own it. And so Isaiah's been out here teaching people, educating people on cryptocurrency, blockchain around the whole country. And he's actually setting up shop in Miami right now because he's got a mentoring program in Miami with Mayor Suarez, where I think it was like 55 of his students got $1,000 worth of Bitcoin from Mayor Suarez. So big shout outs to Isaiah. I always want to make sure I show support. Like I said, when you buy clothing from people, it's one of the easiest ways to support them as well as to market them. And so I want to take it a step further to not only market them when I wear it, but to market it through this video. Last week I did a podcast called Shoutouts to the Homies because I started seeing a lot of my friends pass away at an accelerated rate. And so I was like, well, while they're still here, let me give as many people flowers as I possibly can. So make sure you check out that episode. And now you get to see the clothing line. So let me keep going. So we also got the other Black Bitcoin Billionaires merch. I'll be in DC February 10th for the launch of a Bitcoin the American Dream. That was written by Lamar Wilson, same guy who created the Black Bitcoin Billionaires. And so that's the book right up there for the book launch, February 10th. And so I always support them. They actually got a new shirt that came out. So make sure you check out blackbitcoinbillionaire.com. Check out the merch, support that, because all the money that goes from there goes towards spreading the word about Bitcoin and how we can now create our own wealth. I think that by supporting each other, spending money amongst our community, and then owning Bitcoin, I think that puts us miles ahead of the game. I think that's actually our ancestors' wildest dreams, is to have a tool like Bitcoin that appreciates over time, and there's no barriers to entry. Unlike real estate, you don't have to be an accredited investor. You don't have to have a whole bunch of money. You can buy Bitcoin $5 at a time, $2 at a time, DCA, dollar cost average into it. And even though right now it looks volatile, over the long term, we're just at the beginning. So when Bitcoin's at 2 million, you won't really care if you bought it at 40,000 or 60,000, because it's already at, $2-3 million a coin. So get as much as you possibly can, accumulate it, don't sell it. I don't buy Bitcoin to get more US dollars. I use US dollars to buy more Bitcoin, if that makes any sense. I don't use Bitcoin to get more US dollars. I use more US dollars to get more Bitcoin. So, we're educating people around the country. Shout outs to Lamar Wilson, Isaiah Jackson. And they actually gave me this one. I didn't buy it because I'm a moderator for the BBB, Black Bitcoin Billionaires. I'm like the resident CPA. And so shout outs to the BBB for hooking me up with that. It's got my little name on it. CJ the smart guy. I also bought the hats from him as well. And then shout outs to Chris Knight. I bought some from him as well. I saw him down in Miami. He came through, as well as shout outs to Cash Money Matters, Make Black Wall Street great again. I've seen this in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa, Oklahoma touched me heavy because I was there for the 100th year centennial of, the 1921 massacre that happened, when the U.S. government, as well as some of the U.S. soldiers, were so mad at this black city for being successful. They were just jealous. And not only did they kill people, they bombed it. And the people who owned a lot of these properties and, banks and airplanes and businesses, they were never given any money from their insurance companies. And some of those banks are still around to this day, and they never received the money. And so I was there as some of the survivors were speaking and trying to demand the money. And obviously they still haven't got it. They've been waiting 100 years, still haven't gotten it. Banks are still around. And it really felt some type of way that Joe Biden was talking about. He's helping the community out by providing loans to us, when it's like, no, you don't have to provide any loans to us. You can just give us what we're owed, because their whole businesses, their whole lives were just burned to the ground. People were murdered. And to this day, those banks are still around and they haven't been given their money. So I want to make sure that I bought that hat. I want to make sure that anytime somebody sees that hat, I tell that story, because they're still suffering. And I witnessed, they're over 100 years old. They're still talking about it and they're still waiting. So, yeah, make sure that you guys check out Tulsa, Oklahoma as well. And if you can donate, please do. That's one of the reasons why Hill Harper and Najah Roberts created the Black Wall Street wallet, where you can buy, sell, and send your Bitcoin to your cold wallet. It's so we can start building up wealth. And some of the profits from that are actually going to go to the survivors of the Black Wall Street massacre that happened in 1921. And so from a clothing perspective, I believe that's all I got. But actually, I got one more. I got a couple more. My bad. I got Blockchain Gang. So in this crypto space, it's pretty easy to create a clothing line. Sometimes you can have your own brand. Sometimes you could just, get somebody to print something for you, and that's what it's worth. And so I try to support as much as I can. I actually forget who created that. Sorry. I know when y'all see it, y'all going to be like, why'd you, forget the brand or whatnot? But, I buy stuff from people so much that sometimes I forget. Shout outs to Dadu. He's a writer for the Bitcoin magazine. He's written a couple articles about me as well. So I had to make sure I supported him. He's actually really, talented in terms of how he writes. I'm personally not somebody who likes to read a lot of articles, or at least in depth. But when it comes to Dadu, I do. And so once again, as trying to keep the dollars flowing in our community, you also want to keep the articles about our community. So, him being a Black person, he's writing about different Black people that are in the space for the Bitcoin magazine, so that, we're showcased. So I'm greatly appreciative for that. He's also writing about the Jump Out Girls. They're a group of girls, there's two of them, where they talk about, financial literacy and how to empower the people as well. So big shout outs to Dadu. my homeboy Crypto Kenzie, Bitcoin baby daddy. He was one of the first people to give me an interview when I was just coming into this space. And so I had to make sure I supported him as well. He's got his own little clothing brand. I know he's just trying to get out of corporate America now, and he's trying to do it on his own. So big shout outs to Crypto Kenzie. I appreciate you for putting me on your podcast, putting me in the group. Crypto Kenzie was in the Bitcoin and Black America book. So when he interviewed me, it was like, oh, wow, that was just a great feeling. So for sure, shout outs to you. And then the last one, which I just bought, haven't even opened it yet. The Regal Liberation. This is my homeboy, Black Regal. He's part of the Black Bitcoin Billionaires. He's a moderator as well. I did an interview with him as well. So like when Detroit comes out, it's going to show his interview. It's going to take us through Detroit and my experience while I was on the tour with Najah Roberts. And that's where we met. And so I just want to make sure I support all my people. And I feel like you should do the same thing. Hope this inspired you to start buying from your friends and family, as well as the people that inspire you. Originally, my first time buying from people was through Nipsey Hussle. He had the Marathon clothing, so I bought his clothes, and then I saw Richard Sherman. That was one of the people I rocked with, so I bought some of his clothes, and I started thinking, man, if I'm buying from these celebrities, why not buy from my friends and family? So I encourage you to do the same thing. Keep the dollar revolving within our communities, and to keep your value, make sure you accumulate your Bitcoin. CJ the Smart Guy. Make sure you also check out my clothing line. I didn't even plug myself. Smart Guy Clothing. You can check me out. smartguytaxes.com/shop. And CJ the Smart Guy, I'm out. Deuce.